All right, what is going on, Notre Dame fans? I'm Tyler Horka. That's Jack Sobel. We are with blueandgold.com, Blue and Gold Illustrated, where we just watched the final media viewing opportunity of fall camp, Notre Dame's fall camp. I think that wraps up, about a dozen days that we were actually able to physically be at practice. Some days more than others, but man, in this last week or so, maybe even 2 weeks, Notre Dame really gave us a lot, I would say. We got to learn a lot about who these guys are in competitive situations, one-on-ones, some 11-on-11 stuff, which honestly there was more to glean from the one-on-one stuff than there was the 11-on-11, because the 11-on-11 was scripted. I think the defense kind of figured out the offense at some point. You did learn about starters and who to expect to run out there first on August 26th, so that was interesting for sure. We'll get to some of that. First of all, though, I've got the notepad here. I'm going to run through pretty much every single one-on-one rep that we saw today. So when I say one-on-one, quarterbacks, Sam Hartman, Steve Angeli, Kenny Minchey throwing to wide receivers with defensive backs in coverage. I'm going to rattle through these pretty quickly. There was one that I wasn't able to write down. Deion Colzie won a corner rep, nice touchdown. I think he even kind of stood over whoever he was defending. I can't remember. Steve Angeli threw him the ball, though. It was perfectly placed. Deion Colzie won that rep. So it's good to see him doing that sort of thing, because he has obviously fallen down the depth chart a little bit, and I think he can be a real factor for Notre Dame when he's at full go. Some other reps. Sam Hartman to Tobias Merriweather with Benjamin Morrison in coverage. Tobias Merriweather scored a touchdown. Hartman to Jaden Greathouse. Thomas Harper in coverage. Great coverage. PBU on that one. Rico Flores Jr. scored on a slant against Christian Gray. Jordan Faison, the walk-on wide receiver, scored a touchdown with Xavier Watts in coverage. That's a starting safety for Notre Dame. Really impressive for the walk-on wide receiver. Steve Angeli hit Matt Salerno with Jaden Mickey in coverage. That was kind of a shimmy shake at the line into a slant. Salerno got the best of Mickey. Kenny Minchey had Jaden Greathouse breaking wide open over the middle of the field with DJ Brown in coverage. When I say Greathouse cooked DJ Brown, he cooked him. Kenny Minchey overthrew the pass, though. Sam Hartman ended up overthrowing a pass to Jordan Faison, who was wide open. That was not a particularly good throw either. The next rep, when Merriweather went against Morrison, advantage Morrison that time. So that's kind of the give and take that you have with these one-on-ones. Merriweather got him the first time. Morrison got him the second time. Sam Hartman, Braylon James, touchdown with Cam Hart in coverage. So Braylon James is one of those guys who's like fringe, maybe can play, maybe not see him on the field on Saturdays. Great to see him win that rep against a guy like Cam Hart, another starter for the Notre Dame defense. Steve Angeli, Rico Flores with Christian Gray in coverage. Great coverage by Christian Gray. Kind of climbed the ladder for a PBU. Jaden Mickey climbed the ladder for a PBU against Jaden Thomas on another one of those routes, kind of going toward the sideline in the end zone. Really great coverage. Last one, Steve Angeli, Jaden Greathouse. Safe to say Jaden Greathouse got the best of that one. Perfect throw by Steve Angeli. Those are all of your one-on-ones. I know you were dying for that. I had to ramble through them. I'm already a little parched. I'm going to let Jack Sobel talk about some Notre Dame football now. One-on-ones, 11-on-11, anything you saw today from our final media viewing.
Yeah, just a quick interrupted to start. Zeke Correll, we talked about him yesterday, wasn't practicing. He was in the pit going through some exercises and stretches. He was in full uniform today, went through warm-ups with the team, had a lot of tape on his left ankle, I believe. It was a lot of tape. Wasn't moving particularly well, maybe a bit of a limp, but he was in uniform. He did not participate in individual drills or full teamwork. He was kind of behind the individual drills. When Ashton Craig was going through reps, Ashton Craig would start if Zeke Correll was not able to go. Correll was kind of miming the reps behind him, kind of taking some mental reps and also just kind of working through his technique, but he wasn't hitting anyone. He wasn't making contact with anyone. It was an encouraging sign after what we saw yesterday for Zeke Correll. Like we said yesterday, Pete Sampson of The Athletic tweeted that Correll is not expected to miss time. Yeah. We'll hopefully get an official update from Marcus Freeman when he gives his first weekly press conference Monday. But good news today for Correll overall. With the one-on-ones, I thought no one really who's going to play looked particularly bad in the one-on-ones. Yeah. Hartman missed that one throw to Faison, but other than that, was more than sharp. Mm-hmm. Can chalk that up to one slip up. But I mean, the guy who stood out the most, and we say this every day, was Jaden Greathouse, man. He's an outstanding route runner.
Even on and I'll give it right back, even on the incompletion, the one I talked about with Thomas Harper in coverage, Thomas Harper was draped all over him. Sam Hartman put the ball in a perfect spot. Greathouse got both hands on the ball. It looked like he was going to catch it. Great play by the offense, just a better play by the defense.
Yeah, absolutely. Greathouse, all his movements in route running are just so precise, man. His cuts he cuts with purpose every time, every step. He knows what he wants to do with every step. Other than that, Braylon James had a nice route on Cam Hart. You mentioned that briefly, but
physical.
Yeah, physical. Got inside position. Hartman put the throw right in his stomach, exactly where he needed to be. That was an encouraging rep. The most impressive defensive reps I saw were that Christian Gray pass breakup and that Jaden Mickey pass breakup against Jaden Thomas. Like you said, they got up and got those. Notre Dame's going to feel very good about its cornerback depth chart as it heads into August 26th.
The one that I really liked defensively from Benjamin Morrison was, Tobias Merriweather scored a touchdown on me the first time. On that route, Merriweather got into the end zone, kind of faked like he was going to go sideline toward the pylon, cut in wide open. Morrison just lost the rep. Very next rep, when those guys went against each other, Morrison didn't even let him get maybe 2 or 3 yards down the field and said, I'm going to lock you up right here because I can. And Hartman just had to throw him the ball. It's a one-on-one situation. You have to throw it in there, and Morrison, for good measure, got in front of him and just knocked it straight down. If this was, let's say, Clemson, just like last year at this stadium, I think Morrison's hopping in front of that and taking it for 6. It was that good of a play. 11-on-11 stuff, I'm not sure there was a whole lot to take away, but maybe some, who was running with the first-team offensive line, wide receivers, that sort of thing. Did you pick up on any of that?
No real depth chart notes. Just kind of what we've come to expect. The guards were the same as they've been in the past. Pat Coogan, Rocco Spindler working with the ones. The second team offensive line looked better today than they had in the past. They cleared a pretty they cleared a pretty big hole at one point for Devin Ford to run through. The graduate transfer from Penn State, Devin Ford. That was a really nice play for them. Other than that, not too much notable from that 11-on-11. It's just I was more impressed with the second team line than I had been before.
From the defensive side of things, a lot of mixing and matching. The first couple times that we saw the 11-on-11 drives, you're like, okay, this is first team defense, this is second team defense. Today, the defensive backs, I think Antonio Carter was out there with the second team, but it looked like he was playing nickel, or maybe it was the Aztec. We'd have to go back and dissect this film to know exactly what we were looking at. It happens pretty rapid fire. But Antonio Carter out there with the second team was interesting.
Clarence Lewis was with the first team at safety. With I think Carter playing that cornerback spot. Which we thought was interesting. We were talking about this on the way from practice to where we wrote our observations, and we think this was maybe a bit of a Navy specific package with Carter playing closer to the line of scrimmage. You want your better tacklers closer to the line of scrimmage. That's definitely Carter's strength. It's not Lewis's, so that could be something they're cooking up for the Navy game.
Yeah, I saw a lot of Navy prep just in individual drills, like defensive line, linebackers, cornerbacks, maybe a little less with the cornerbacks, but definitely the safeties. A lot of, hey, stay glued to your keys against this triple option. They're going to throw a lot of stuff at you. The scout team was running all over the place. It looked like backyard football almost, man. The triple option is obviously a lot more structured than your average backyard football game, but there is a lot going on, and Chris O'Leary was really drilling into these guys about, hey, this is what they're going to do. If they line up like this, you need to follow this guy. That guy's going that way. So, it's all Navy all the time right now with, 10 days as we stand here today until that season opener. So like we said, that was the last that we will see of Notre Dame fall camp practice. They're going to practice a couple more times leading into next week, but next week's going to be a lot of walkthrough, a lot of get right, and hop on a flight and head to Dublin, Ireland. So until we see you guys next time, please go to blueandgold.com. Plenty of coverage from both the practices that we saw this week, and then we had some interview sessions with some players as well. So go to blueandgold.com. You'll see us on this YouTube channel sooner than later, though. Until next time, I'm Tyler Horka. That's Jack Sobel.